not taken advantage anymore regarding housing rights. Thank you.
I know you have to get out of here. I just wanted to give you a little feedback as to why I think the elections are so close now and why the nation is so divided. My wife and I, even though we've voted Democrat for the last 25 years, we have a big family. When we get together every Sunday, there's at least 7 or 8 families that all get together. Everyone has brothers and sisters. Believe it or not, I have 3 or 4 brother-in-laws that actually voted for Trump. Now, I know you all think that they have to be certifiably crazy.
No, they don't.
But I have a little personal insight is that I don't really hate these guys. I can see a little bit of their worries. And I think one issue, which I don't understand why the Democratic Party is giving Trump the holy grail ground, is immigration. I think a lot of Americans are concerned about numbers. I know Trump made it a race issue, but the numbers, the math, is a very concerning issue to, I think, the middle of the electorate. And I think if the Democrats want to attack Trump in the next few years, they have to grab the middle. And that's going to be important.
Thank you. Yes.
I was just capping the line.
Oh, okay. Go ahead. Okay.
Yeah, I would really like to see more housing and maybe hospitals that will take care of people that have mental issues, because it's a big issue in our society. It's
Absolutely.
very pervasive where I live downtown, and it really needs to be dealt with. That's a really big human rights issue to me. And one more, just a comment. You guys got to run somebody strong, because Trump will win again until he's run some Democrats really somebody strong that could win again.
Hello. Millions of people in U.S. territories can't vote for federal elections, including Puerto Rico. What can we do to help these people get their federal voting rights?
Hi, my name is Gabriel. I'm 11, and I just want to ask you, why isn't illegal for kids to be able to get bathroom breaks and water breaks? It's because it sounds like a silly question. People usually ignore it, but it can actually be serious, because if you don't get any water, you're dehydrated. And the teachers might ask you to get a water bottle, but some people can't afford one.
Okay, well, Gabriel, thank you very much for your question. So let me just do a rapid-fire response. First to you, Gabriel, I didn't know that you couldn't take a bathroom break or have water. So maybe that's something that we need to look at in your particular school, and I'll ask my staff to follow up on that. In terms of Trump's mental stability, which was the first one, you know, when he was running, I tried to do a petition because I knew he had problems. You know, I do have medical training. I'm not in psychiatry, but I was trained enough to know when somebody had a diagnosis. And the clearance for Jared and Ivanka is just egregious, and you can trust me, that is going to be examined. Trust me. Education for older folks, I think that's absolutely critical. You talked about 50s or 60s. You know, I just got another graduate degree just a couple of years ago, so I'm with you on that. I do think there needs to be intergenerational opportunities. Campaign finance reform. Listen, I don't know how I could say enough how I would love to be able to do my job and not have to fundraise. If I could just focus on doing my job, but I can't. I have to fundraise. Until we get money out of politics, I can't make pledges like I'll never accept money from PACs. I can't do that. And frankly, if all of the candidates had done that, we would not be sitting here celebrating taking back the House. We just wouldn't. So I agree with you 1,000%, but it's like saying that we're going to completely disarm when somebody else has all of the weapons. So if we can get money out of politics, and believe me, it is going to be one of our first steps to end Citizens United. We have the legislation to do that, and we are going to do that. The other thing is that I would give anything to be able to raise money like Bernie does. If I could raise the money that I needed with $1, $2, and $5 contributions, I would love that. So I can't talk about that beyond that here because then I violate the wall behind this is a formal official meeting. So anyway, I have to leave it at that. Trump lying about Iran, yes, I think that some of the things he has said is egregious. I think pulling us out of the Iran nuclear deal was ridiculous, and I'm very, very concerned about that. The conservative judges, you know, the 11 and the 12-year-old that spoke here, I'm going to tell you guys, you youngsters, that when you grow up, or as you're growing up, we need to figure out how we deal with the lifetime appointments. But I'm going to pass that torch on to that generation, because we have to deal with that. When they came up with lifetime appointments, that's because people didn't live beyond 40. A lifetime appointment now can be 50 years, and I think it's really crazy, and some of the judges that have been appointed is just horrible. In terms of the people who have pledged to vote against Pelosi, we need those people to vote against Pelosi, frankly, because they might lose their re-election if they don't. That's why it's important that we have enough seats. So when I'm talking about her, you know, getting to majority, I'm accounting for the fact that some people are going to vote against her, and we should not go after them for that. When you take the majority, you have to understand that not everybody has California politics. The Democratic Party in the United States of America is very diverse politically. So we live in a bubble over here, and frankly, we're in a double bubble because we're in LA and we're in California. And so not everybody has our politics, and we have to understand that some of the Democrats and some of these seats we won are not going to be able to vote with us some of the time. So we have a decision to make. Do we want the majority or not? For the individual that says that Dems have to show the country what we're about, I agree with you 100%. I'm not sure where that person is, but I would just ask you to be involved, because one of the things that if we learned anything from Trump, it is not just about elections. We have to become a politically active citizenry. And we haven't. As citizens, we are not politically active. We're a relatively apolitical country, and we expect elected officials to do everything. I'm not a magic person. So I need you to help me do this job. Raising taxes on the bottom, this whole thing, that was not a rule, by the way. You can't pass a rule that says you won't raise taxes on the bottom 80%. That's probably a legislative proposal. Democrats won, but we can't dictate. So that was not a rule. That is a legislative idea that is being put forward. And education, I believe in education the same way I believe in healthcare. This is the richest country in the history of the world. It is inexcusable that we don't provide education, K through graduate education is a right. It should not be just for wealthy people. The ERA is ridiculous that we don't have the ERA, and yes, it is time again. And let me just tell you something. Betsy DeVos, now she's somebody that believes in privatizing education. I do not believe in that. What can we do about the media? We can all participate in the media. So that's one thing about social media now. We can all be involved, and we should. Barbara Lee is one of my best friends and mentors, and she is not going to challenge Nancy Pelosi. She is running, though, to chair the Democratic caucus, and I certainly support her in doing that. Affordable housing, oh my gosh, it is just crazy here. I don't know how young people do it. They must live, 14 to an apartment to be able to afford rent. The rapid development and the displacement and the gentrification is a major, major issue in our country. And then immigration, we can absolutely deal with immigration in more responsible ways. But I think that we should be very, very strong against the racialization of this issue, which is what Trump has done. And then in terms of housing and mental health, I absolutely agree that we need to deal with that. And I don't know that I can rattle off 5 steps for accountability, but what I can tell you is that I am looking forward to participating in a whole bunch of hearings to hold this administration accountable. And on that note, thank you, thank you, thank you.